Good morning and welcome to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining us again today. Yes, and I am glad to be with you right here today on this lovely Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we are reading Interstellar Cinderella, and it is written by Deborah Underwood and illustrated by Meg Hunt. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you. Please let us know where you are joining us from and who is joining in with you. Good morning, Miss Jen Betta. How are you doing? Thank you so much. So good to see you today. How are you? Thank you. Thank you. Sheba Chanda, how are you doing? Yes, good morning to you. Obsa, how are you doing right here in Auckland? How are you doing, buddy? And good morning to you, Asta. Thank you so much for joining us. Harmony Beth, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us. Getting my tongue twisted there. Good morning to you, and good morning to you, Madalena. How are you doing? And of course, joining in with Tudor. How are you today? How is your morning going? Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you, Ingrid, and good morning to you, Anders. So glad you are here with us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning to you, Elizabeth. How are you doing? And you're joining in with Ben and Declan out in San Francisco. How are you doing? Yes, good morning to you. Thank you, Miss Vera. Doing great. Good to see you out there. Okay, Chinamore, how are you doing? And you're joining in with Kelena and Kanayo from Dublin. How are you doing in Dublin, California? Great that you are with us. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Lachita. How are you doing today? Yes, Michelle Jaramillo Cortes. How are you doing, my sister? So glad to see you here. How is Fred doing? Good to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And good morning to you, Kate. How are you doing? And you are joining in with Adelaide. How are you today? And you're joining in from Auckland. And you say you're joining in with your stuffed animal, Raki the raccoon. Awesome. Good to meet Raki. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes. Get cozy. Get ready for story time. Ruth Mona Lisa and Swana, how are you doing? So glad you are here with us. How are you doing today? Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Rachel Humphrey, and you're joining in with Rain. Yes, how are you doing? And I hope you are having yourself a lovely morning. Good morning to you. I am great, Michelle. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Jayada, Santiago, and baby Marco. How are you doing out in Sunnyvale? Yes. Growing we are. Yes, thank you so much for joining in. And yes, a big welcome to you, baby Marco. How are you doing? Ellen in sunny Chicago, how are you doing? Enjoy it. Good to see you here. Yes, and I hope you are ready for Interstellar Cinderella by Deborah Underwood and illustrated by Meg Hunt. Yes, I am excited for that one. And if you think you know the Cinderella story, you're in for a treat because there's a twist in this one. Good morning to you. And yes, Calypso, how are you doing? Yes, cats, dogs, everybody join in. Yes, good morning. Thank you so much. And good morning to you. Yes, Ruth, thank you one more time. I appreciate that. Liz, look. How are you doing? And you say you're watching from West Auckland. Yes, right here in the neighborhood. How are you doing? Good morning to you. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Charlie. How are you doing? And you're joining in with Sharon today. Good morning to you, William. And of course, good morning to you, Lyle. Good to see you guys. How are you doing? Claire and Peter, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us. Lynette Marie, how are you doing? You're joining in with Quincy out in Marin. How are you doing? Yes, I am having a lovely morning and I hope you are too. Thank you so much. Andrea Marks, thank you so much for joining us, and you are joining in with Leona in San Francisco. Good morning to you. Good morning to you, Anna Lima out in Chicago. How are you doing? Thank you so much. So glad you are here. Olive Oil, good morning to you and welcome. Good to see you. Thank you. Sheba Chanda, thank you for the reminder. You say you are joining in with Benjamin. How are you doing, Benjamin? Glad you are here with us. Ariel, how are you doing? And you're joining in from Pancho and you're joining in with Pancho and Cali. I'm sorry. Yes. Good morning to you. Thank you so much. How are you doing, Pancho? And how are you doing, Cali? Good morning to you. Yes, olive oil. Much appreciated. I am glad you are here. Rachel Reed Mudenda, Gamwamba Basa, yes. Good to see you one more time out in El Paso, Texas. I am glad you're here with us this morning. Good morning to you. Gwen is here, yes, and baby sister Sienna from San Francisco, and you're joining in with Jackie. How are you doing today? Good to see you. Jenny Lee, yes, you say I have the same book. Awesome. Good morning to you, Vera, in Alameda. How are you doing? Yes, I hope you get to enjoy reading it together and then reading it some more after that. Desmond in Gilroy, how are you doing? Good to see you. And good morning to you, Jessica. Thank you so much for joining us. All the way out in Denmark, good morning, or is it good evening to you, Fiona. And good evening to you, Marissa. How are you doing? So glad you could join us. Yes, hopefully you are getting ready for bed and we will be reading this bedtime story for you. Yes. Good morning, Luis. Good morning, Leslie. And of course, good morning to you, Isabella. How are you doing right here in Oakland? Penelope Evanson, thank you so much. So glad you could join us. Yes, good morning to you. Rocco, Clay, and Chriselle, how are you doing out in Long Beach? And you're joining in with the dogs, Bear and Cody. Yes, I am so glad you're joining in with everybody. Good morning to you. And yes, a big hug to Bear and Cody for me. Thank you so much. Good morning to you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, so good to see everybody out here with us. Who else? Stephanie joining in with Ty out in LA. How are you doing? Yes, thank you so much. Glad you are here. Tokozile, how are you doing? Joining in from Solwezi. Wow, Northwestern Zambia. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us today. That is awesome. Yes, thank you so much, Luis and Leslie. Ada, Owen, and Ilya, how are you doing? So glad you are here. Yes, thank you so much. Salome Lerato Limata, how are you doing? Yes, 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 good to see you here. I am glad you're joining in for story time today. Yes, that is my niece right there. How are you doing? So glad you are here. All right, so we're going to get started with Interstellar Cinderella. Yes, by Deborah Cox and illustrated by Meg Hunt. But actually, before we go into that, just wanted to share a few things about space. And of course, first of all, Cinderella itself, the story, has many versions of it. And the original one, well, one is traced, the oldest one has been traced to the Greek Empire. And then we also have versions of Asia, France, and so many other places. So just so you know that this story is it was worldwide, so many variations of it. But of course, too, when we talk about space, and we want to talk about women in space, and the first woman in space was a cosmonaut named Valentina Tereshkova. And she was Russian or USSR at the time, and she went on a mission in the Vostok 6 in June of 1963. And then, of course, the U.S. sent a woman for the first time in space in Sally Christen Ride in 1983. And, of course, the first black woman in space was Mae Jemison, and she was on the Space Shuttle Endeavour in September of 1992. Yes, so just a few facts about women in space. But let's find out. Interstellar Cinderella. Are you ready? And this one is being read with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. And it is written by Deborah Underwood and illustrated by Meg Hunt. Do check out the link and see where you can get yourself a copy. Thank you. All right. Once upon a planetoid, amid her tools and sprockets, a girl named Cinderella dreamed of fixing fancy rockets. She fixed the robot dishwashers and Zoom brooms in her care. But late each night, she snuck away to study ship repair. Ooh. One day, her wicked stepsisters came dashing in, excited. The Prince's Royal Space Parade. Our family's invited. I wish that you could come, my dear. Alas, no room. Although, why don't you fix that broken ship and fly it to the shore? My toolbox, Cinderella cried. We're stranded here, I guess. But Megatroid the mouse sent out a cosmic SOS. I am here, your fairy god robot. I will make you brand new tools. You will need a spacesuit too, of course. Atomic blue with jewels. This power gem will speed up your ship across the starry sky. It only lasts till midnight. After that, your ship won't fly. Oh, thank you, Cinderella said. She quickly fixed the rocket and then tacked the sonic socket wrench inside her spacesuit pocket. She zoomed past stars and nebulae and parked beside a moon. The space parade was glorious. Each starship made her swoon. At last, the royal ship approached. Her heart was filled with yearning, the ship of Cinderella's dreams. But heavens, what was burning? Oh no. The prince's spaceship jerked and hissed and spewed a cloud of grit. The prince hopped out. Oh blast, what now? My chief mechanic quit. But Interstellar Cinderella knew just what to do. She zip-zapped with her socket wrench. The ship was good as new. The prince invited her aboard. Last stop, Galactic Hole, he said. I hope you will join me for the gravity-free ball. Will she? They talked for hours of rocket ships. The time went whizzing by. Then Cinderella saw the clock and said, I have to fly. But wait, the prince called after her. Please tell me how to find... The girl was gone, but she had left her socket wrench behind. The prince sent a transmission to the furthest edge of space. I will search the cosmos for her. How I wish I had seen her face. The prince's ship, Chrysela screeched. Her sister squealed in fear. The prince won't marry one of us if Cinderella's here. Their mother said, don't worry. He won't find her in this house. I have trapped her in the attic with that useless robot mouse. Oh. The prince's cargo door revealed a broken craft within. The girl I seek can fix a ship. So, who would like to begin? Oh. He gave the sonic socket wrench to one, then to the other. Alas, they couldn't fix the ship. And neither could their mother. Cinderella struggled, but the space rope held her tight, till Megatroid's robotic teeth cut through it with one bite. The ship, it's leaving, wait! What's this? She made a fast repair. then strapped the rusty jetpack on and blasted through the air. She landed right beside the prince. "That wrench is mine," she cried. She quickly fixed the ailing ship. The prince said, "Be my bride." She thought this over carefully. Her family watched in panic. "I am far too young for marriage, but I will be your chief mechanic." Amid her fleet of sparkling ships and friends, both old and new, a joyful Cinderella cried, My stars, dreams do come true." The end. Well, thank you for joining in, everybody, for that amazing story, Interstellar Cinderella. I hope you enjoyed it. Yes, with a twist. Cinderella with a twist. I absolutely loved it, and I hope you did too. Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, Storytime is back again tomorrow when we read another heartwarming story, and this time we'll be reading I Wish You More. Yes, do join us for that one and find out exactly what it is about. Thank you to everybody that joined in this morning. And of course, let us see who else is here with us. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that one. And please, if you want a copy, do find a link in the description of how you can get that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Tokozile in Solwezi, thank you so much for joining us. Yes, good morning to you, Luis, Leslie, and Isabella. One more time, thank you so much. Ada, Owen, and Ilya, another big shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Salome, thank you so much. Bisamtima Salome, how are you doing? Charlie from Maryland, how are you doing? Please let us know where in Maryland you are. Thank you so much. Yvonne, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. Mono, Lee, Natasha, and Violet in Lusaka, how are you doing? And you're joining in with Whites and Chavula. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, Lusaka representing my hometown right there. Thank you so much for joining us. Michelle, yes. Yes, I agree with you. Chief Mechanic Cinderella is the one. Yes, way to go. Thank you so much for joining in, everybody. Yes, thank you, Ellen. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And good morning to you, Rachel Humphrey, one more time. Thank you so much. And of course, good morning to you, Maxie. How are you doing? And you're joining in with Adrian Davidson. How are you doing today? Thank you so much. Oh, I am glad, Chriselle. I am glad you love that one. And please do join me for that one tomorrow. Yes. Thank you so much to everybody. Ada wants to read that again. Ada, this book is right here. I will pass it on to you, my dear. Yes, it is a lovely, lovely book. And yes, if you want that, I will pass it on to you and I will get myself another copy. Thank you so much, Ada. Thank you, Michelle Lewis, for joining us from Waltham in Massachusetts. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, and good morning to you, Kanayo, one more time, and Don. Thank you so much for joining in. From me, of course, it is much love as always, and I will see you tomorrow, but be sure to have yourself a lovely, lovely Thursday. Bye-bye.